Hello.
Hi, welcome to Event Conversations and Q&A. We're happy to have you here, guys.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, welcome. We are ready to roll.
Yes, we are.
If you don't know, we attempt to do this a few times throughout the week to answer your questions. We ask you to send those in. We've been getting lots of those comments. That's why we're doing a few more of these because we've got lots of questions. We think they're good. We might as well get them out
rolling.
there. So keep sending in your event questions.
And we have time for you.
And we will get those answered on another event conversations and Q&A that we have. Sometimes we just go through and do rapid fire answering of questions. Sometimes we think a question actually needs a little bit more of a deep dive, so we drill down on that. And so we'll spend the episode time just working on one particular topic. But today we've got a few different questions for you, so we might as well just jump right into those questions.
Here we go. How far in advance should I have registration in the morning before our event?
It depends on how large your event is. If you have a larger event, it's going to take more time to register your people. If you have 50 people, it's not going to take nearly as long. So the length of time that you should have registration before in the morning,
it's definitely a couple hours.
A couple hours is good. So if you're going to start your event at 9, registration can start at 7 or 7:30.
Yes. Don't do it at 8.
No, it's too
much. Everybody comes at once.
And I actually think if you're going to have a larger event, having your registration the night before is even better, because that way you're not having to rush around. You're not trying to get everyone in and out and around. It kind of cuts down on some of the chaos, especially for a larger event. And a larger meeting, if you have more than a couple hundred people, you don't have to. You could do a networking time. You could do meet and mingle. It could be they're just coming to pick something up. You could make it a whole evening where you do cocktails or have some sort of, something going on.
Something happening. Entertainment.
Band, music, dance floor. I mean, you could make it any way you want. But the main thing is don't put your registration too close to when your actual event is happening, because you want people to be able to come and get all their goodies. You want to be able to come and get their lanyards and their name tags. You want them to have time to do that.
Right, because the doors are going to be open and then all that racket right out front.
And you want everyone to be able to be ready to go in and focus on the event.
Yes, you want that line and anticipation to wait.
So, if you're going to have a larger event, maybe think about doing it the evening before. If you're not, then definitely, if you're going to have your event start at 9, then have registration start at 7. If you're having your event start at 8, then, that's when we start backing it up some. So, maybe on the first day you start a little bit later because you are doing registration. Those are all things to think about, because if you start backing it up too early, people aren't going to be there. Right.
If you even say 6, nobody's coming at 6.
Strolling in later on, and so
they're getting out of bed.
Makes everything.
Definitely if the event doesn't start till 9.
Right. So all those things to think about, but definitely give yourself enough time. And if you have a larger event, think about doing it the night before and make it a to-do instead of just coming and getting your lanyard and going.
Should all of our team be out front during registration?
It depends on who you're talking about on your team. A lot of them should be, because it's a time to meet and mingle. It's a time to put faces with names. It's a time
for them to say hello,
your presence and your brand. It's a time to build rapport. So yes, a lot of your team should be out there. Now, I'm going to give a couple caveats on who should not be out there. You should not have your main speaker or your other speakers
out there mingling
during registration. You want a separation. You want a separation between who's on stage and who's speaking and who's out there doing registration, who's shaking hands and meeting people. Now, if you have coaches or consultants at your event, then you definitely want them out there during registration.
Yeah, because that rapport is very important.
They start feeling more comfortable with you. They start, opening up. They're going to start knowing that they come to you to ask questions. So those are all people. Now, you also don't need your AV people out there during that.
Because they should be inside testing everything.
And whoever is your planner, coordinator person, they should be in and out. They should be out there making sure everything's going well outside, but they also need to make sure everything's good inside. So that person should not have a main role of being registration person. You need to have other people on your team taking care of that. So that person can come and go, can take care of any fires if they may arise, any challenges.
They're finalizing everything before the doors open.
can come and go, right? I call it, they flow in, flow out.
Yep,
But
back
they're
and
not
forth.
a person that's out there going to be conducting all of that while it's going on.
Yep.
Alrighty, next question. Sometimes the event next to us is very loud. Is there a proper way to get them to lower their break music and speakers and microphones?
You could send staff next door to, not the hotel staff, I mean the event staff that you're working with, to maybe talk to them beforehand. Talk to them during, when it happens, when it's happening. And then if nothing happens from there, that's when you can go to the main staff of the hotel, the event venue, to ask them to lower it.
Yeah. And also, this is a good question because this is a lead-in question for another topic I want to kind of just go in on a little bit, is whomever are your event buddies, right? Your roomies, if you will. These walls, a lot of times that they have in venues are very thin. Okay.
Very.
So it's good to go over and make an introduction. That way you're a friendly, right? You're just,
Yes.
Hey, how's it going? We've got our event. It's going to be these days. What's your event? When does it start? Oh, are you going to have registration out here?
Yes.
What's going on over there? So that way, if you come storming over, I'm like, yo, turn that stuff down.
Or
not
start
the-
blasting your music or your microphone's
It's not
louder.
the first time you've ever talked to them or they've seen you or vice versa. So
And you know who to talk to.
and you can be like, awesome, we're doing this and that. You can kind of compare notes because if you're taking breaks, it'd be good if you could break at different times. So everyone's
Yes.
not in the halls and the bathrooms at the same time.
Correct.
If you're starting at a certain time. So those kind of things,
Yes.
and engage.
You want to know how long their event is.
Yeah, how many days are you going to be here? What frequency are their microphones on? Because you want them on different frequencies, so
You
you
do.
don't have that overlap on that.
Yep, there should be a list.
So it's good to just go over no matter before there is a challenge and just have a conversation, both sides across the hall, left, right.
Yes, it's better across the hall.
Who's around, right? Just so you know what's going on and what's going on around you. But
Right.
also, if there is a challenge, then you've already kind of made a point of contact.
Yes.
You can just go over, and they're a lot more receptive to that because it's like, oh, sorry about that. We'll turn that down a little bit, or
Yes.
whatnot. So. If
Yeah,
you already
be gracious.
it's about building the relationship before you actually need the relationship, right? So
Yes.
whenever you can be friendly and go over and introduce yourself, that's another
Yes.
great thing to do to figure out who's going to be in the
Yeah,
space.
don't pull out the little laser. Hey, you. Turn it down. Down.
Okay, and next question. Sometimes other events that are close to us drink our coffee and eat our snacks. Ooh. How can we prevent that from happening again? Okay.
Pull out the bullwhip. Spank their ass. No, I'm just joking.
No, don't do that. So this comes back to, again, there's etiquette, but the people who are eating your snacks and drinking your coffee are not the people running the event. It's the people attending the event. Now, we have had it happen before where you go out and you're sharing the same hall space,
Yes.
right?
It's very close to each
And
other.
Venues, a lot of times, set up a lot of those coffee breaks, snack breaks in the hall itself. So it can be very confusing for people at these
Yes.
events to know, is that their tea and coffee and snacks or is it not? Okay. Sometimes they put up little signs, but you're not always reading little signs. So this is where having stanchions comes
Stanchions help a lot.
helpful because you can kind of cordon off where that's going to be. You can also have requests that someone from the hotel stands there because
Right.
a lot of times the venue puts out your snacks 15, 20, 30 minutes before you're going to break.
Yes.
So none of your people are out in the hall yet, but this other venue, the other event at the venue, they went on their break, and so their people are coming down the hall, and they're like, oh, look, tea and coffee and
But that's
other
when
stuff.
a teammate could be there
Yeah.
looking for lanyards, looking for stuff like that
Yep.
to know, hey, this is not for you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Fernando.
Hey, so that's when you
Love you.
Hi. That's when you want to. You have those couple, bumper things that you can do. Put out your stanchion, have it come from your door out your hallway
Yes.
where you're going to be. That way they know, oh, they have to cross over the stanchion before
Yes.
before
And
they have to actually.
That's when
do
you pull out the
something.
bullwhip and spank their ass
No.
right with the whip.
You don't. You don't.
Just whip it. You reach
You know what? We should do an event together, Fernando. That would be fun. So let's chat
very
about
fun.
that here soon. But
Tijuana, I think, still in Tijuana.
All right, so we'll have to. Ooh, we could do an event abroad. That'd
Yes.
be great. I like those kind
We'll
of
come
events.
there, buddy.
Yeah. So
Just
when you have that
Tequila.
challenge in the moment, you can want to get your whip out and you can want to be like Mama Barrett and you're like, okay, they're
right.
eating my food.
You know how
they're
much we're
taking
paying for these cookies?
Do you know how much? I was in San Diego. Do you know
Cool,
how much
San Diego, love
this food, this cup of coffee right here?
Yeah.
Right. So
Gallon,
right.
$600 a
So
gallon.
that's a challenge. No joke.
No,
That is
yep.
a challenge. And so how do you prevent the challenge? How do you foresee? This is what we're always talking about, right? If you can think about these things ahead of time, you're not then trying to run around and fix it on the back end, right?
Correct.
So if you can already know and anticipate you have a snack in the hall, there's
Yes.
other events going on, they're
And-
breaking around the same time
right.
you are.
Figure out that break time for sure.
How can you have this out there in the hall? Having someone out there on your team that's checking lanyards, that's good.
Yes.
Also, having stanchions, that's good. Putting it in an area that makes it a little more obvious that it's for your event.
Yes, have it in front of your
Not
room.
just out in the middle of the walkway.
Right, in between the two ballrooms where they're going to come out and they're going to go right to that
Yeah.
area.
And this is a conversation you want to have with the venue ahead of time as well, because this is all you want to talk about. Can we set it up over here? Maybe where you had. Here's another great way of doing it. Where you had your registration is a great place to put your
Or
your
in the back of the
foods or
room.
your other areas.
What about the back of the room?
The-
Noisy?
The back of the room,
noise,
the
it
challenge
gets
back of
noisy.
the room is it gets noisy. People like to kind of go out of the event room and get some fresh air so they can grab their snack. You could put it in your room, but then
it's just
a lot
noisy.
of times the challenge with that is, let me grab this. The challenge with that is that, the people that are there, they have to bring in your stuff early for you. And when they do that,
Right.
there's clanking, there's other stuff that's going on.
Yeah,
So
they're wheeling it in.
yeah, you don't want all that to happen while you're having your own event.
Correct.
All right. Any other questions that we had?
That's it.
Alrighty. So definitely, Fernando, we will talk to you soon about having an event, maybe in the San Diego area. That would be fun.
Yes. Awesome.
And in the meantime, guys, keep your questions rolling in.
And
We
keep 'em
love
coming.
doing these event conversations and Q&As with you guys.
Yes,
and
thank you.
remember, it only takes an instant to make an impact. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.